Hello! This is it. My first vlog. My first time sharing a ride. It's not perfect, and it's not meant to be. But every journey has to have a beginning, and this is mine. I'm still learning how to shoot, edit, and voice things the right way, which right now mostly just means I'm not filming my mirror for half the ride, or even just my elbow, figuring out how to not sound like I'm recording this in a tin can with a bad cold, mind you. But hey, if I get a laugh at this in a year or two with the cringe, I'll take that as a win, because that means I've grown. I just want to let you know this whole operation, this whole thing here, it's a work in progress, I know, but it's also started something new for me and for y'all. And if you got any ideas, thoughts, or even just, yo, just fix your audio around this part, it's a little crackly, it doesn't sound that good, drop it in the comments. I'm just trying to grow 1 mile and 1 bad transition at a time. Once I get a bit more gear, I plan on recording more live audio in my videos here, but for now, and probably for the next few videos, and probably more after that, I'm going to be rocking these voiceovers like it's a podcast on 2 wheels. I wanted to take a moment to talk about the gear I'll be using for my videos moving forward. I plan to keep my video descriptions updated for what I'm using in case I upgrade or switch anything around. I figured it might be helpful and maybe interesting to share what's going on behind the scenes. Right now, most of my footage is going to be coming from the GoPro Hero 10 Black, which I've got mounted right in the front of my helmet using a chin mount. This is going to be my main camera while I'm out riding, and honestly, the black part, I just kind of read off the side of my camera. I kind of don't know what it means, but it sounds kind of fancy, right? But the GoPro has the ability to shoot in 4K, and since I know it can handle that kind of resolution for a decent period of time, I figured why not go all in for the quality. I mean, unless someone out there has a really solid reason, or really solid advice why I should dial it down and not record in 4K, technically 5K, I'm rolling with the full quality and might as well let the pieces do the thing. I also picked up an Insta360 X5 recently, which I'm going to be using to mix up, some different angles and POV shots, especially the ones where you actually see me riding. And I'm trying to be all expressive and give the videos a bit more personality. The only hiccup is that I haven't actually mounted it yet because the adhesive pad it came with me took a little bit of a tumble, and that's a story that I'm going to have to save for another video, but let's just say it was my smoothest moment. For my more cinematic shots or anything off the bike, I got a DSLR, a Canon 70D. It's not the newest thing out there, I know, but it's solid and still delivers pretty good quality, as I'm going to be shooting with a 50mm prime lens to start things out, and I have a couple other lenses that is kind of going across in the background. But let's talk about the prime lens. It gives a nice blurry background, crisp details, and I'm still kind of learning how to make the most of it, so I still think it'll be just a nice little touch to add to some visuals that you're going to see, and I put a couple of them in here. Now for the audio for what you're hearing right now, that's coming through the HyperX Quadcast mic. A good friend of mine actually hooked me up with it for free, which was super generous. Shout out to the homie, you know who you are. And as for editing, I've made the switch to DaVinci Resolve, and let me tell you, it is a bit of a ride, because I'm used to just using Apple's built-in video editing, which is basically just cutting videos and making it super simple. But now I'm staring at color wheels, scopes, audio compressors, all these different wild tools I didn't even know really existed. It's definitely a step up from what I'm used to. But I'm really enjoying this learning curve, and it feels like I'm actually stepping in a whole new world. Last but not least, I'm editing my photos using Lightroom on my iPad Pro. I think it's the first or second generation iPad Pro. It's the one with the OLED screen and the Face ID, the one when it first came out. Because honestly, I kind of forgot the exact model, but I bought it in 2020. But it's been a powerhouse for literally everything I've done until I started editing photos for my DSLR. Turns out that extra resolution really puts it to work. And, trying to edit photos while having a charge, it's the first time I actually saw this iPad hesitate, even just a little. But that's not reason for me to actually upgrade it. Anyways, that's the current setup, and I'm excited to keep learning and experimenting as I go. Enough of this huge, long-winded intro here. To kick off this whole journey, I had a pretty solid idea. Why not start this YouTube channel by riding some bikes I don't usually get to throw a leg over on. And not just any bikes, this was a group ride event that was hosted by Aprilia. Free bikes, monitor ride, good vibes. Yeah, it sounded like the perfect launch for me. I've always liked Aprilia, and there's something about the Italian design and craftsmanship that just kinda hits, and their bikes are absolutely stunning. And since I've been dabbling in photography lately, I'm no pro but simply an amateur, I made sure to sneak in a few shots that I kinda grabbed at the event that I'm gonna be inserting roughly around here. Hopefully y'all like these. This was honestly one of the highlights of my day, and I'll talk a little more about that later on. Because now in the classic fashion, I decided to do all of this, first video, group ride, to do all this with rain in the forecast. But hey, what I saw on the radar, it looked relatively dry. Yeah, about that, the forecast wasn't exactly bluffing. But anyways, the event was hosted by Leos in Lakeville, and I live a decent bit away, so I was hopping on the bike immediately after work to try to get there before it wrapped up. Don't worry, I was moving quickly within the bounds of traffic laws because we're only out here promoting responsible riding. No reckless stuff, ride your own ride everyone. Know your limits, stay safe out there folks. The best ride is the one you can go again. I was leaving at around like 3:30, 3:40, and my ETA was like 4:20. Yes, I know, relax. But the event was set to end at around 5, but when I called ahead, it was like the day before, they were kind of on the fence whether Aprilia will send out a final ride or just shut it down right at 5. I knew I was cutting it close, but I still wanted to show up to feel the vibe and hopefully catch some action. And the traffic wasn't too bad, and I was just out enjoying the ride anyway, because I was just excited to see what the day had in store for me. And what did the day have in store for me? Nothing. Well, that's honestly a lie. You won't be seeing any footage of the group ride because I showed up right as the final ride was heading out. I literally rode up to the parking lot just in time to see what I assumed would be the event leaders playing up cones and folding away tents. I rolled up and asked if there was going to be any more rides. They literally called me and let me know that I was on the day. The weather forecast wasn't looking too friendly, and they decided to wrap things up early, and I thought I was ready for the rain, but apparently I was just not early enough. From the earlier shots that I managed to snap, yeah, those were taken just before the skies opened up and let the rain pour down and the glass were protected. But hey, it wasn't a total loss. I ended up having a great X-minute long conversation with the guy, just talking about what got us into bikes and where we're both headed with it. Turns out, he's actually one of the main test pilots for the new Aprilia models. He was telling me how he took bikes out, the bikes that we were going to ride that I wanted to ride, before events like this, to make sure they were dialed in for any potential rough riding, which honestly sounded a bit over the top at first, because all we're doing is just street riding, and it's monitored. And he agreed with me. But he does really like the free track time, so honestly couldn't really blame him. But here's the coolest part that I learned though. He told me that the track only Aprilia produces actually comes out the same factory workings as the Aprilia recent. Meaning they're crafted and tested by actual MotoGP engineers. They're not just stripped down street bikes with the lights pulled off. These are actual legit racing machines. So that was a cool little fun fact to walk away with. So yeah, not the day that I expected, but I still called it nonetheless. It's kind of wild. I didn't get what I planned on getting that day, but honestly, that's kind of part of the fun. Sometimes you miss the event, sometimes you get to go to the event. And sometimes if you do miss, you might end up meeting cooler, more interesting people along the way. Is that the One Piece? I don't know. But I'm already eyeing up the next ride event as we speak. It might be a Kawasaki, maybe a Honda, or maybe Aprilia might come on to another one. Who knows? I actually don't know. But either way, getting my hands on new toys and potentially getting some real footage will be a win in my book when the time comes. But either way, once the ride event wrapped up, I didn't really want to hang around and bother the host for too long, so I dipped and headed to the local micro center to pick up a SD card because everything is going to take footage and storage. And let me tell you, that kind of tested me, because I didn't really catch much footage on my way there, but I thought I would start filming again once I started leaving, and yeah, I started recording when I left, because your boy was completely soaked all the way through every single layer that I had on, because I had layered up thinking I might get a little cold because there's gonna be no sun, the wind was picking up, there might be a little rain, but it turns out that was completely my downfall. I basically turned myself into a human sponge. Now, I didn't really plan on riding that much in the rain that day, and I don't really plan on riding in the rain that often, so I haven't really invested in any Gore-Tex or any fully waterproof gear. All my stuff is built for airflow, because Minnesota summers here kind of get a little hot and humid. I've got vented shoes with holes, jeans because airflow, and a jacket that's designed to breathe, and last but not least, my gloves, my Alpine Star leather gloves. Yeah, that soaked up everything and didn't leave a single drop behind. I mean, take a look at this footage that you see here. I was actually just hunched over, just trying to minimize how much water was slapping me in my face, my body, my arms. I was basically a towel's worst nightmare. And to top it all off, my Cardo kept chiming in, reminding me that I was still several miles away from home, and that the weather apps practically said the rain wasn't going to stop or go anywhere for a while. So yeah, this was practically my ride going back home. So that's a wrap to my first video, and this is my first outro. I've been thinking about coming up with a signature sign-off or a catchphrase or something, but honestly that felt a little corny given the fact that this is my first video. I should relax. But for now, I'm gonna just focus on keeping the grind going, sharing more content with you all. Big shout out to anyone who made it all the way to the end of the video. It really does mean a lot, and I'm hoping to see some of you guys back as this journey continues to unfold. Until next time, ride safe, stay warm, whether it's day or night or wherever you are. I hope it's a good one. Thanks for your time.